Welcome to Multifamily Insights. I'm your host, John Kasman, and I want to thank you for joining us for another great episode. Now, if you're enjoying the show, do me a favor. You got to leave us that rating and review. I want to hear what you love about the show, but also any tips or tricks to make it work a little harder for your investing needs. Now, today we've got a great show. We're going to be talking to JD Sustar. JD Sustar is better known as the finance cowboy in the social media world. Now, he's managed to amass a net worth of well over $1 million through investing in real estate, staying out of bad debt, and taking advantage of his company's 401k and match. Now, he currently owns 22 rental properties, with 13 being single-family houses. He's got 7 mobile homes and 2 short-term rentals in Charleston, South Carolina. Let's welcome to the show, JD Sustar.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
JD, absolutely. Listen, I went over your bio at a very, very high level. Why don't you take 2 minutes and fill in some of those gaps?
So I'm based in South Carolina. I grew up a pastor's son. So, my parents, great home, loving home, but money wasn't a big topic, right? Pastors don't make a ton of money. So I wasn't brought up around investing, about, achieving financial independence. And so, I worked through college. I played baseball. It's kind of my passion. I get out and I start working in the working world, and I realize, I had developed this work ethic from baseball that I'd carried into the working world. And I was like, man, most people are just comfortable. And so if you go out and you hustle and you put in the extra work, you're going to beat most people. And the cool thing about working compared to sports is you're actually getting paid. And so I got that taste early on, right out of college. And, time goes on. I get into sales. Great way to scale your income: pharmaceutical sales, medical device sales. Finally get my finances in order, take care of bad debt, start budgeting. And I'm like, okay, got to start finding a place to park this wealth. And I just looked at historical data, and it looked like, okay, everybody who's become very wealthy has bought real estate. When you look at people in the past, and then you look at people, that I have in my life who are older than me, the very successful ones have bought real estate. And so I went and learned everything I could about real estate. Had a mentor in my best friend, and, took the plunge in 2018 and then just scaled it from there. And here we are today, and I'm able to help other people get into real estate.
I love it, man. You talked about, growing up, being a pastor's son. Money was not something that was talked about very much. But you found a love for baseball, and that love for baseball kind of took you through, taught you work ethic, and you're able to leverage that when you went into the corporate world, getting into sales, and ultimately being able to start amassing some wealth, getting that into real estate. And here we are today with your portfolio of over 20 properties. Talk to me about, what you're doing currently, right? You've got, I believe I said, 22 single family, some mobile home parks, and some other things like that. Talk to me a little bit more about that current portfolio.
Yeah, so I actually just sold 2 properties. So I need to update my bio. I'm down to 20 properties right now. And I didn't think I would ever sell, but the first property I ever bought, I bought it for $68,000 in Greenville, South Carolina. I probably put about $10,000 into it. And a wholesaler came to me earlier this year and said, hey, we'll give you 140 for it. And so, I doubled my money in a relatively short period of time. And then my second home that I sold was the second Airbnb that I bought on Seabrook Island in Charleston. I bought it last year for $287,000. And just sold it and closed on it last month for $460,000. So made a nice hefty profit in 365 days. And so I'm taking those profits and I'm doing a couple things. So I still do my medical device sales full time. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's very flexible, and so it allows me to keep generating steady income while being able to invest. I just purchased an existing book of Medicare insurance from an older gentleman who is retiring in my church. So I got a lot of stuff going on there, building out a team there. And then, as always, I'm constantly looking for more deals. So I really like the Seabrook Island market for an Airbnb. Returns on Airbnb are great. And so I actually put in an offer on another house there. And then my bread and butter, I know a lot of folks who listen to this do multifamily. I absolutely love multifamily, have nothing against it. But in my town, in the place that I live, the great properties are kind of like those 3-2 single family brick ranch homes in those B to C class neighborhoods. And so that's kind of my bread and butter. And so I'm always constantly looking for properties there.
I love it, man. You just talked about a couple of different things, right? You sold a couple properties, had some 6-figure payouts on both of those properties, and you look for some reinvestment opportunities. And you mentioned, looking at more Airbnb properties on Seabrook Island, as well as, buying a book of Medicare insurances. Talk to me a little bit more about that. That's one that we haven't really talked a lot about on this platform, but you're buying a book of insurance policies. Just explain a little bit more about what that looks like and what that process is.
So it is. I'm new to the insurance agent or insurance world. Have never been an insurance agent before, but there is an older gentleman in my dad's church. I told you my dad's a pastor. I've known him my entire life, and he's getting up there. He's probably close to 80, and I know he's done well. I could just tell he's lived a good life. And so I kind of call it keeping your ear to the ground, right? It's like just kind of scope out how people are doing, keep an eye on their business. What are they up to? And so I started probably 5 years ago hammering him like, hey, you ready to sell your business yet? Hey, you ready to retire? And he kept telling me no, but I would have it in my calendar to text him twice a year, at the beginning of the year and at the end of every year. And finally, last November, 2021, he said, you know what? I think I am ready to sell. And so we sat down and we looked at the financials, and he's bringing in anywhere from 140 to 150,000 dollars a year. His expenses are 5,000 or less, and that's great because it gives me some breathing room to hire someone to run it. But it also he had no technology or no like modern day anything built into this business. And when I looked into that business, Medicare in general, I mean, there's some people who know what they're doing, but a lot of it still, there's a lot of older people, a lot of people who are on Medicare are selling Medicare. And so I looked at it as like, okay, we've already got decent income coming in, and now I can take and scale this thing. And I've built this brand through Finance Cowboy. And so I can push some stuff through that, but also can just do something as simple as creating a website, running some ads, hitting SEO a little bit. And so there's the opportunity is enormous. And yeah, I could have just started this myself, but the fact that I can buy this and now have the income to pay somebody else to run it while I'm focusing on my other ventures is pretty cool. And so, that's a big passion. I can't say insurance necessarily is a big passion of mine, but building teams and growing businesses and financial freedom and teaching people is. And so I'm just doing it in the space of insurance.
Now, obviously, in this case, you knew this gentleman from church, and I love one of the first insights you shared there is the patience. You knew this guy was really successful, and you had patience, and you were diligent in following up with this person twice a year for many years. And then finally, they said, you know what? I think I am ready to sell. And that's one great insight is you have to have some patience and diligence, right? Stay persistent, follow up, but be patiently aggressive, meaning continue to push, to continue to make that ask, but wait on that result to come and take place. Now, for someone who's interested in that, but they don't know anyone in this space, they don't know anyone who owns this business right now, how would you suggest them they go out and find someone or find a business like this to purchase?
I think you have to network, I know that's kind of a generic answer, but like networking has been huge for me on all levels, whether it's real estate, whether it's getting into medical sales, whether it's insurance. And I think you really have to put yourself out there, whether it be local groups, local small business groups, or local real estate groups, or you're going to a church, or you're, in some like dance club or a bowling team, or you go. I know people who go to the country club, the golf country club. They don't even play golf, but they just go sit at the bar and hang out and eat food and meet people. And so I think you just have to put yourself out there and get to know folks. And then you have websites. I think buy biz sell, one of those.com. I'm saying it wrong. They have a ton of businesses listed for sale all the time, all over the country. And it's a great place to start. Now there's a lot to it. Once you get in, you got to pique somebody's interest to sell. So you got to find somebody who's willing to sell, but then you got to go through the entire process of due diligence. But if you guys listen to this are doing real estate, then it's something you should be used to. It's along the same lines as a real estate deal. You're trusting, but you're verifying all the way through, and you're being kind, but while getting the point across and while also getting the terms and the price you want. And so it's the same thing, just in a totally different space.
And how do you evaluate or put a valuation on a business? You mentioned the one you bought was making roughly 150K a year, expenses only around 5K, so $145,000 of net income before EBITDA. How do you place a price tag on that to say here's what I'm willing to pay for that business?
It's going to vary per industry. So, like for example, I bought this business for 250 grand, which I think, is a great deal. It's almost like a time to multiple. But there's some industries, it could be a multiple of 8, 9, 10. And so I think you have to do your due diligence in the actual industry. So find leaders in that industry, look up articles, talk to other folks who may have sold a business in the industry, because it really is going to be industry specific on what the valuation is going to be for the company.
There you go. Great insights right there. Now, one of the things we loved about you is you've got a pretty big following here on Instagram in particular, 71,000 followers on Instagram. Talk to us a little bit more about some of the content you provide to the audience there and what allowed you to grow to 70 plus thousand followers.
So I am under the name Finance Cowboy on Instagram. And so I primarily give out real estate information. I have mixed in more kind of mindset, success, and then just personal finance information in general. But I think people come to me to learn about real estate. And it's interesting. I started this account in July of 2021, and I started it under a totally different name. And I was like, man, the name I started it under, the brand wasn't great. And I was putting my cowboy boots on one day and I was like, Finance Cowboy. Like that is the name. And so I was really posting more just generic finance stuff at that point early on. And it was very interesting that the market on Instagram pushed me to real estate because I was just making sporadic posts about my real estate experiences. And at that point I'd bought, 21 properties. I think I just actually closed on my 22nd. So I'd like been through a lot of these experiences. And so people were like really wanting to know more. And so I really honed in on that real estate market. And I had 0 followers in July of 2021. I've never bought a follower. I think I've ran one paid ad for a lead magnet one time and I left it on for a day and it did terrible. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to work with somebody on this. I think the biggest thing for me, I think having a good brand was helpful, right? I got the cowboy hat. You can see it back there, Finance Cowboy. And when people are scrolling, they see the hat and it's like, oh, yeah, what's Finance Cowboy got to say today? But more importantly than that is I showed up every day. There was a Saturday or Sunday that I didn't post, but I am always on their feed. And now I got a team in place and I'm putting out 2 videos a day plus a Twitter style post. I got stories going on. But in the early days, it was more about just getting valuable or educational or funny content out there consistently and engaging with people. And, you look back and it's like anything, you put the work in and compound interest over time takes control. And, when I had 5,000 people, it took me forever to get to 10,000. But then I went, had a post go viral because I kept showing up every day, just volume, boom, one hits. Now we're up to 20,000. Slow go, then boom, another one hits. And now the compounding on 70,000 compared to the compound on 5,000 is ridiculous. And so we grow at a pretty fast pace now.
There you go. Right. So it's really getting to that first 10,000 is the hard part. Once you kind of get there, the followers continue to grow, especially if you are consistent. A lot of great insights. I want to just play back. One thing you did, first of all, you started from scratch, right? You started in 2021, summer of 2021 with no followers. So we're recording this basically about a year later after that. So in about a year, you've grown 70,000 followers with this account. One of the big tips you gave is posting daily. We hear this from a lot of people all the time, but daily posting, keeping that engagement up is a great way to be able to grow your follower count. And it's tough. And I want to come back to that point because I think that's a challenge many people have, but posting daily, one of those first insights. The second thing you said, making sure the content was valuable, educational, or funny. I want to rephrase that slightly just so people understand it, but your content should either educate, entertain, or inform. And if you can do one of those 3 things or make it personal, let people get to know you a little bit more. But one of those 3 things are, that's what drives engagement. You can educate people, if you can entertain people, if you can inform them, that's a great way to drive that engagement. And that's a lot of what you were doing early on. Let's go back to that first point, right? Showing up every day. It's easier said than done. Maybe you run out of ideas. Maybe you just don't feel like posting. What to post, right? Is it a combination of pictures, videos? Are you going live, reels? There's so many options that many people just get overwhelmed. They can't commit to the process. Talk to us a little bit more about that process, kind of prior to hiring a team and getting help. How did you stay committed to posting every day and set yourself up for success?
When I first started, I was literally coming up with content that day. And so I was really winging it. And when you do that, this type of endeavor could eat you alive. It really can, because there is a lot that goes into it. I mean, even just a Twitter style post, you got to post it on Twitter, then you got to screenshot it, then you got to upload it to Canva to make it fit, and then you got to post it, and then you got to write a caption, and then you got to comment back to people. And so there's a lot that goes to it. And so I learned very on that batching my content was going to make a world of difference for me. And so, today I sit down and I make I post 2 reels a day. Now, I do not recommend this if you're just starting out. There's no need to. I didn't do this until recently, but I'm just giving you an idea of how I batch my content. I sit down and I post and I record 60 videos in one day. And so that gives me 2 videos every day that I know that I'm already going to have. And when you do that, that day's not fun. And you don't have to do it all in one day. If something else works better for you, do it over the course of a week. But I'm telling you, batching it like that is going to make life a lot easier. And then when it comes to coming up with content, there's a lot of content that I come up with my own by asking myself, what would I want to know? Right. If I was just starting out in real estate in my niche, buying single family homes or buying short term rentals, what would I want to know? Or what have I just learned? Or what have I taught before that I could explain better? And then I also go out and I find other people's content and curate it to fit me. And that's going to be the easiest thing to do. There's already a ton of good content out there, and nobody has created it from scratch. Everybody's taken somebody's idea and formed it to theirs. And that is a great way to come up with awesome content, because you can look at what has been viral, what has been popular, and then, bring that into your world.
Love it, man. More great tips there. First and foremost, batching content, great way to get ahead of it. Yes, you have to plan it out. That's the sucky part, right? You got to sit there and think through, what do you want to do? You're doing 60 videos in a day. That's just crazy to me.
It's exhausting. It's
I
absolutely exhausting.
imagine.
But I'll say prepping for it's not that bad. Like, I sat down last night and it took me an hour and 15 minutes to write down all 60 topics plus the hook lines, the opening line for my reels. So to plan for it's not that bad. It's just sitting down and doing it. It's not fun, but I mean, how many things do we have to do in life that we don't like? Sometimes you got to suck it up, buttercup,
There you go. I love it. I love it. But sitting down, writing it out, planning out 60 videos. Now, again, he said you don't have to do it this way, but that's his process right now. I know others who do it weekly. Sit down Sunday, come up with content for, the upcoming week, bang it out real quick, and they're off to the races there. But planning that is a great way to go. The other thing is the ideation process. You want to sit there and ask yourself, what would I want to know? What have other people asked me? Or what else do I see out there that I can curate and borrow? And you mentioned that no idea is original, and that's exactly it, right? There's nothing new under the sun. Everything is some sort of recreation of something else someone saw somewhere else. So don't feel like you have to start from scratch every single time with something that is so unique and original that no one has ever thought of it, but make it your own. And I think that's the key that you're talking about. It's not just straight up ripping someone else's content, which is, I see people do that and I hate it.
Yeah.
But to figure out, how do you put something in your voice? How do you break down a similar topic or similar message in a way that really, relates to your audience? And that's a great way to stand out. It helps to have a little bit of branding like you do, kind of with that cowboy hat and kind of the moniker there. Talk to me more about building out that personal brand, right? You mentioned the cowboy boots, putting them on one day. That kind of helped you figure it out. You got the cowboy hat on here. Talk to us more about just the personal brand and the relevance that has.
I think in today's day and age, in 2022, there's not much more powerful than building a personal brand. I really think it is one of the most powerful things that you could possibly do today. And, what does that mean for you? It doesn't have to be something silly like me wearing a cowboy hat. It works for me. I got the accent. I'm from South Carolina. We live on land. And so, I can roll with it. But what is it for you that's going to make your brand stand out? And it doesn't have to be necessarily your face or something you're wearing. But what's a good name, that is going to like let people know what you do, what can you really highlight that you do that just stands out? I'm thinking of a lady right now who does cake designs, and like, she doesn't have like a fancy picture or a fancy name, but it's like when I'm scrolling through, I'm like, dang, like I know her designs, and she's got over, I think, like 120, 150,000 followers. And so, there's many ways to do it. And I can't sit here and claim to be a branding expert. I'm learning a lot along the way, especially as my audience grows. But, just, and the biggest thing I'll say, let me take a step back, is don't feel like you have to hit a home run right when you start, because things evolve. You look at the big guys. I mean, look at Joe Rogan, look at Gary Vee, look at Tony Robbins. And it's like they woke up every day and conquered a new day. And then over time, they evolved into what they were, and their brand evolved with them. So start small, start niche, and let it expand over time.
Let me ask, there are two questions I want to ask. One, when you set out on this journey, did you have a clear goal or expectation or outcome that you were looking for that kept you committed to posting every day and sitting down and creating all the content you're creating? Or was this just something that you went out, you started doing it and saying, oh, okay, I like this. Let me do more of it.
It's a funny story. I'm very competitive. I am unbelievably competitive. I think sports did that to me. But I have a family member who I'm super close to, love him to death. I've been investing in real estate for years, and I've been trying to get him to invest in real estate. He's a very smart guy, was in school 12 years, got a doctorate, 2 masters. He's like 3 levels down from CEO at one of the largest hospitals in America, one of the most. And so I'm having all this success investing in real estate, and I'm trying to get him, and he just will not listen to me, and he's just kind of blowing me off. And I'm like, okay, he's older than me. I'm kind of a wild card. I'm like, okay, I get it. And so a little bit later, he starts sending me Instagram post from this cat on Instagram who's like 26 years old, has like a minimal net worth, but he has 30,000 followers, so he's an authority in his space. And so now this family member of mine who would not invest is now investing in index funds because this 26-year-old with 30,000 followers said to. And not only is he doing it, he is hounding me and trying to convince me to invest in boring old index funds. And so at first I got pissed. I'm like, dude, leave me alone. I'm not investing in this bullcrap. Like, I built a lot of wealth in a short amount of time off real estate. Get that out of here. But then it hit me. I was like, dude, like, if this cat on Instagram can have this much influence to convince my family member to finally start investing, I have to try this. And so that's actually what got me started, was like almost like a screw him. Like, I'll show you, like, I can do this too if this clown can. And I passed that guy like a couple months ago, and I sent a nice little text message that said, hey, just let you know, I got more followers than him. But it started out as that, and then it evolved into like, you really get to help a lot of people. I don't make hardly anything off Finance Cowboy right now. I sell a $25 calculator that people can plug in numbers to make sure it's a good deal, but that's like very minimal. So like, I've been doing this. So like, eventually there will be good monetization that comes from it, but I haven't been doing it like to make a bunch of money. It's been a liability essentially at this point, but being able to help so many people, I get so many DMs and so many questions. It like, that's what it transformed into, is like so much, being able to help so many folks. It's been awesome.
I love it, man. And the thing that jumps out to me is recognizing how you can finally persuade the people you want to persuade. It's one thing to go out there and get 70,000 people you don't know, right? But when you recognize the level of influence it has, particularly if you are coming from a great place, if you know this is the kind of stuff that can change people's lives, and it's why we do the show, right? We believe in the power of multifamily and real estate to transform your life. And we want to share that with people we know, like, and trust, right? So we want to get that out there. And it's hard if you're just telling people to do it. But if you can show them, if you can build up a platform, if you can, share your knowledge and show them versus you just telling them, it becomes a little bit easier. And we want to help those people around us because we want to see them succeed. You don't want to be at the top by yourself. You want those people you love to join you, right? So it's very helpful to share that. And that's something for people to think about. If you're reluctant to putting yourself out there, or you don't want to create content, or you don't want to commit to this, think about it from this standpoint. Who misses out if you don't do this? Who misses out on the chance to change their life because you weren't willing to persuade them? There's a line from a movie. I never saw the movie. My old boss, good friend of mine, used to quote me this. He said, I remember I was telling him something, and we had a meeting. It just went terribly wrong. And it was basically against everything I said. I told him to do one thing. They went another way. After the meeting, I'm like, hey, man, I told you we should have went the other way. He's like, you told me, but you did not persuade me. And I was like, so this is my fault? Yes. Yes is the short answer. And that's my point to you. You got to persuade people, right? If you believe in it, if you've got conviction in this, if you've got the passion, and you're a pastor's son, so I know you know about conviction and conviction and passion, right? So you got to persuade people because you don't want those loved ones to miss out because they were fearful on something that you truly believed in. Now, obviously, everyone's got to take their own risk accordance, but I do believe that we all know the power of real estate can help you transform your life. It's just a matter of now learning how to do it the right way to protect yourself. And that comes from education. So great insights right there. I really appreciate you breaking down a little bit more about what you do, how you're able to create that content and grow it. So the other thing I want to ask is just, you started talking about Twitter style content, which is, people making a post on Twitter, screen grabbing it, making a little edits, and then posting it as a standalone graphic. You also mentioned reels, right? You're doing all these reels now. Right now, as you're looking at your content, are you primarily doing reels? Or are you doing a combination of reels and stories and videos? How do you kind of mix and match the content you're creating right now?
I primarily do reels. I enjoy the Twitter style threads. Twitter's a great place just to put down your thoughts. And so then you can put down your thoughts and see what gets good traction, or you can put down your thoughts and be like, wow, this reads good. Or you can put down thoughts and like spell out a thread, like a post I did this morning, it was 6 things we did or we're doing to help our kids be financially independent one. And so you're able to help people that way. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. I would say if I was starting out again, I would stick to reels right now. I believe Instagram's pushing reels big time because they're trying to compete with TikTok. And so if you don't feel comfortable getting on camera yet, that's fine. You can do a Twitter style post. I think those are my 2 favorite types, either the reels or the Twitter style post. But I would practice getting in front of the camera. Maybe you start by doing an Instagram live, right? That'll get you in front of the camera. You can do a Q&A about something, but I would, I like the idea of pushing reels because Instagram is a big fan of them.
I love it, man. Great insights right there. JD, for all of our listeners who want to learn more, maybe check out some more of the content you have, what is the best way for them to get in touch or reach out?
Go to Instagram at Finance Cowboy. That's going to be where you can find me, where I'm putting the majority of my content. And for you, especially if you're newer real estate investor and you want a tip, guidelines to kind of help you out, I put together a 19-point checklist for analyzing a rental property. And so if you go to Instagram, click the link in my bio, you can download it for free. And it just kind of walks you through every box you need to check before buying a property. That way you can make sure you're running your numbers correctly and there's no surprises on the back end.
I love it. JD, let's go to a round of insights. You ready?
Let's do it.
Give me a failure or an apparent failure that sets you up for later success.
I believe the biggest thing that's happened in my life to set me up for later success is I became team captain my junior year of college. And I had been all conference, like a lot of traction. And junior year comes on, I get all this recognition. Now I'm captain. I met my future wife, and so I got distracted. And I thought I was something. Couldn't handle the leadership. Didn't put as much time in because I'm hanging out with my now wife, which is great. But I did not have a good season that year, and it really hurt my potential of playing at the next level. And so I looked back and I looked at the complacency and how I did not handle success very well. And I said, I'll never do that again. And so no matter whether I'm failing or I'm being successful, now I show up every day and I put that grind in because I'm fearful of that happening to me again.
Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
The 1-page marketing plan, it's actually a book, so I don't know if that's what you're looking for here, but that has been an unbelievable resource for me to grow a digital brand and help with marketing.
Well, speaking of books, give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
Who Not How. It's a book that teaches you stop thinking, how can I get this done? And think, who can get this done for me? It'll really help you from bottlenecking your businesses and allow you to grow.
All right. Give me a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals.
I wake up every day around 5:15 and do CrossFit with my friends from 5:30 to 6:30. Sets the day up perfectly and just puts me in the right mindset to get to dominate the day.
All right. Give me your number one insight for growing a social media brand.
Be consistent, show up every day and engage with others. If you do that, you're going to have a lot of success.
All right, let's lighten the mood, man. You talk about being in South Carolina. I know there's some great food out that way. Give me your favorite place to grab a bite to eat.
The Smoking Pig. Best barbecue, best food all around. It's in my hometown. It's in Clemson, where I live, in another small town. There's only like 3 of them, but it will change your life. So if you're ever coming through like Atlanta, Charlotte, hit me up. I'll meet you at the Smoking Pig. I'm there every Thursday. It's great.
I love it. I love it. Listen, great insights right there. I appreciate you coming on the show, JD, talking to us about kind of your investing background, some of the different things you're doing, from buying businesses, still investing in rentals. We got to get you in some multifamily as well, man. We'll add that to your portfolio. But
Let's do
also
it.
just how you've built your social media platform. 70,000 followers in just 1 year, being able to connect with so many people by educating them, entertaining them, and informing them, and creating a brand that stands out even when people are scrolling. Some phenomenal insights for anyone looking to connect with other people. And my favorite insight is the why, because you realized that you needed to have more influence to persuade the people close to you. It's one thing to tell the people you love about real estate and they should be investing. It's another thing to create an authority platform that forces them to pay attention and makes them at least consider what you're doing. And I just love the fact that you're doing that, not just for your family and friends, but for all the other 70,000 followers that you have there. Again, for anybody who wants to learn more about you, they can follow you on Instagram at Finance Cowboy, and then check them out at TikTok, The Finance Cowboy. JD, thanks again for coming on the show. We look forward to talking to you again soon. Hope you have a great day.
Awesome, man. Thank you.